Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I rise to present H.R. 51 in honor of Black Women's Equal Pay Day. Nearly 50 years after the Federal Equal Pay Act, women are still fighting to get equal pay for equal work. We recognize Women's Equal Pay Day in April because it marks the time when women, on average, catch up to the wages paid to men from the previous year. But grouping all women together can be misleading. Women of color suffer the greatest consequences from pay discrimination. While the average woman makes 80 cents to every dollar a man earns, Black women only make about 61 cents on the dollar. Black Women's Equal Pay Day is on August 22nd because it takes Black women on average 8 months to catch up with the earnings of men from the previous year. 80% of Black women are the primary breadwinners. We represent 53% of the Black labor force. Black women-owned businesses have surged by 164%, and we are the most educated group in the United States, with women making up 64% of Black students who earn bachelor's degrees. And yet today, millions of Black women in our families struggle to get by. A lifetime of lower pay means that Black women have less income to save for our education, our families, and retirement. Over a 40-year career, women overall lose $418,800 as a result of the wage gap, with women of color losing almost $900,000. Our hard work is undervalued simply because of the color of our skin. Slavery and Jim Crow, periods characterized by the exploitation of Black women's physical and reproductive labor, shaped labor market outcomes for Black women for decades. In the 30s, Black women were primarily employed as agriculture and domestic workers, and as labor market opportunities materialized for some women, rules were adapted to ensure the dynamic remained the same, like the practice of tipping, which emerged in resistance to Black workers moving into formal employment and was used to avoid paying Black Americans for their labor. The 1935 Social Security Act, the National Labor Relations Act, and the Fair Labor Standards Act transformed the labor market for so many white workers, and yet all excluded domestic and agricultural workers from unemployment benefits, a national minimum wage, and a 40-hour work week, to name a few of the many protections denied Black women workers. In 2016, the Commission on the Status of Women and Girls convened the Pay Equity Task Force to form best practices in closing the pay gap. The Commission found that equitable pay policies can be implemented simply and without undue costs in both the public and private sectors. The race and gender pay gap is not a bug in America's economic system. It's a prime feature. We must persist in addressing these disparities, not only for Black women and our families, but for our society at large. Fair pay enhances the economy and reduces the need for the public safety net. We will all benefit when every Californian receives just and equal pay. I respectfully ask for your aye vote on H.R. 51.